Wednesday is a masterclass of pop culture and classical references. And Season 2 is even more than the first one.
I've got a surprise for you.
From cheeky nods to Edgar Allan Poe and Shakespeare, to hidden callbacks to Tim Burton's own films, to casting choices. Blink and you'll miss them.
Maybe it's time to lean into it.
Let's break down every Easter egg you might have missed. Edgar Allan Poe references. Wednesday is crawling with creepy callbacks and chilling allusions. And here's the cleverest of them, hiding in plain sight. The name of the Academy comes straight from Poe's most famous line in the poem, The Raven. Quoth the Raven, Nevermore. It's not just a cool name. It sets the tone for the entire series. Here, the strange and unusual are celebrated. And Gothic poetry is a part of the school spirit. In Poe's poem, the raven is a symbol of haunting memory. And on Wednesday, especially in Season 2, it's a constant presence. Even a pyre shaped like this bird, a clever visual nod that ties Wednesday's Gothic obsessions back to Poe's eternal verse. From the moment you step foot in Nevermore Academy, Poe's presence is everywhere. The school's annual student competition, the Poe Cup, and the boat race features teams named after his works, such as the Pit and the Pendulum and the Black Cat. The campus food truck is cheekily named the Telltale Cafe, an obvious nod to the classic short story, The Telltale Heart. Look, it's in its logo. And it offers drinks like the Murders in the Rue Macchiato, which is a reference to Poe's The Murders in the Rue Morgue. The headmaster's office is decorated with a stern portrait of the Gothic visionary. And the new Nevermore principal's look was based on him.
It is an honor to meet the savior of Nevermore.
Just have a look at Barry Dort's wig and mustache.
Our most famous alumni would be proud.
But the literary references go deeper. Shakespeare nods. While Poe haunts the shadows, another genius walks the halls of Nevermore. Ophelia Hall is named after the tragic heroine of Hamlet. Caliban Hall, a tip of the hat to the mischievous, monstrous figure from The Tempest. Puck Hall is where the tricksters and pranksters might dwell, straight out of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And Thisbe Hall, a nod to the ill-fated lover from the same play. But the references don't stop at names. One of the most haunting and beautiful touches is the pool with the statue of Ophelia. It shows the tragic moment when the young woman meets her watery end, surrounded by flowers. However, the bard and the Gothic genius are not the only writers referenced in Season 2 of the show. Before we go on, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Those 2 small clicks from you will help us bring you more of these awesome videos. Modern-ish classics. One of Wednesday's ex-love interests, Xavier, was sent to the Reichenbach Academy in Switzerland. It's a sly Easter egg from Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes stories. The Reichenbach Falls is the place where the detective faces off against his arch-nemesis, Moriarty. The character of Slurp is a walking Frankenstein reference. The resurrected monster, he's struggling to understand his identity, but he's also a reminder of the classical zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead. Slurp is hungry for flesh, especially the brains. Still, there's a twist here. On Wednesday, he slowly regains his look and memory. By the way, Owen Painter, who plays Slurp, spent from 5 to 10 hours in the makeup chair every day. Yet another cool cinematic nod is a reference to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's not dark or scary in the traditional sense, but the Willow Hill therapy session and those long corridors with heavy doors immediately evoke the film's iconic atmosphere. The show is also paying homage to Alfred Hitchcock. One of the first clear nods is the brutal death of Detective Carl Bradbury and former Sheriff Galpin. He is swarmed by ravens that literally peck out his eyes, an obvious callback to Hitchcock's movie, The Birds. Original cartoon callbacks. Season 2 of Wednesday goes beyond simple nods to literature and horror classics. It also tips its hat at Charles Addams, the creator of the original Addams Family cartoons. Wednesday's attic bedroom is packed with tiny details straight from the original comics. The show's designers studied them meticulously to capture that quirky, darkly comedic energy. Every small item, like furniture or decor, is inspired by Addams' illustrations. The eagle-eyed fans might have noticed an octopus drawing and a dinosaur mural in Wednesday's childhood room, and they will appreciate the visual humor and grotesque charm. Previous Addams shows and movies. And speaking of classics, Season 2 also quietly nods to the many Addams Family adaptations that came before. Wednesday's wardrobe and Morticia's gowns unmistakably echo Christina Ricci and Angelica Houston's iconic looks from the 1990s films. Uncle Fester's lab and Morticia's cottage contain hidden nods to previous adaptations as well. The living room, intricately designed over 9 months, includes sculpted fireplaces with trees and snails, and stained glass windows with climbing roses. After the renovation, Morticia filled it with the hidden Addams memorabilia, like a stuffed bear, Iron Maiden, and a taxidermied tortoise. They are all nodding to the 1960s Addams Family TV series. And the creepy shrunken heads? They are not just for the spook factor. They pay homage to decades of Addams Family visual style. The little heads appeared occasionally in each and every one of the previous productions. But this time, the show's designers literally scanned Luis Guzman's face to make them. Plus, remember those chairs Wednesday's parents sit in at Camp Jericho? They are styled after Morticia's iconic fan back chair. And the dialogues often mirror classic phrasing or jokes from earlier adaptations. Yet another wink for longtime fans. But the most touching moment is a genuinely beautiful tango scene between Morticia and Gomez. Of course, it's not just a random dance. It's their love language. They've been dancing this tango since the 1960s series, through the 90s movies. And now in Wednesday. While not a direct callback to prior Addams Family movies, the duel between Morticia and her firstborn echoes the family's tradition of playful yet morbid showdowns. The elegance of the fight, combined with the fragile glass heart, gives it a modern cinematic visual twist. However, while Wednesday has its own Gothic identity, fans of Tim Burton will spot some loving nods to his iconic style throughout Season 2. Tim Burton influence. The overall aesthetic of the Wednesday show feels straight out of a Burton film, like Edward Scissorhands, for example. Elongated shadows, Gothic architecture, and slightly exaggerated character designs. It's all there. Tim Burton also loves his recurring actors. Apart from playing Wednesday in the 90s, Christina Ricci was in Burton's movie Sleepy Hollow. Steve Buscemi previously starred in Big Fish. Joanna Lumley voiced Maudeline Everglot in the stop-motion film Corpse Bride. And here's a quick fun fact. British fashion designer and socialite Daphne Guinness served as a major inspiration for Hester Frump's look, particularly for her distinct hairstyle. Moreover, Wednesday Season 2 features the haunting black-and-white animated segment, made in the unmistakably Burtonian style.
Tonight, you're gonna hear the tale of the Skull Tree.
The director himself contributed to the design process, crafting a rough clay head to ensure the animation retained its authentic tactile charm.
He made a head of the boy, and it really was rough carved out of wood or something like that. And he'd stuck individual metal hairs. He said, no, I want it something like this.
Plus, the skull tree itself calls back to Burton's filmography, which is populated by a lot of twisted vegetation.
The Tree of the Dead.
And the story was animated and voiced with help from the same studios Burton collaborated with before. This ties Wednesday directly to his creative universe. Totally deliberate Easter eggs. What can be more iconic than casting the actors from previous Addams Family adaptations? Season 1 gave us Christina Ricci as the villainous Marilyn Thornhill, aka Laurel Gates.
I was excited to be back. I love this world. It's such a huge part of my life and career.
And bringing in Christopher Lloyd is yet another example of metacasting. Not only did he famously play Uncle Fester before, but the actor is a pop culture icon in other darkly comedic roles, like Back to the Future. So his presence on the show evokes classic Gothic and eccentric energy, even if he isn't reprising Fester exactly. And how many Easter eggs did you spot? Share with us in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.